Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Soul Mechanics. I'm your host, Jim Hecker, and thank you for joining us. Well, it's already starting to heat up in Tucson, Arizona, but it's okay with me. I'm a Chicago native, and my family, who still are there, and my good friends, said they had 40-degree below zero weather in Chicago, and I'm certainly glad I'm not there now. Okay, the purpose of the show is that I'm going to give you a psychic reading tonight. If you would like to know something about your life, why do people get readings? They're worried about their careers, they're worried about their family lives, they're worried about their health, they want to know if they're on a spiritual path. They want to know sometimes if life is being deceptive to them. There's all kinds of ways to answer this question. When I do a reading, I use the tarot cards, and it's kind of a misunderstood medium because actually I'm half Jewish and half Catholic. I guess all the way Catholic. I was baptized. But I had a great influence in the Judaistic faith because half my family was that way, and I had an uncle that was a rabbi. And it is part of Judaism that the tarot was a communication device for counsel, and many centuries ago, rabbis had used it to help counsel the families. But then it went into an offshoot of what people call fortune telling or predictions, this and that and the other. But if it's used effectively and you have the right training, it really can change a person's life or at least give them something to think about. The call-in number, folks, is 629-0683. That's 629-0683. I need your hair color and eye color for a focal point, and we will proceed to give you a reading. Try to keep your questions to a specific area. When I do open readings, that's what I do on a 1-hour consultation, which is a different story. So again, the number to call in, folks, 629-0683. Want to talk about what's going on? Save Our Community Media. The city, once again, is trying to liquidate Access Tucson Studio and sell this historic building that we are residing in right now. Now, if you want to help us combat this situation to save, free speech, 14th Amendment, and the right to speak, go to accesstucson.org on the internet, accesstucson.org, and you're going to see a space where you can click on Sign the Petition. The voting is not done. At first they wanted to eliminate all our funding. Now there's some kind of compromise going on, but it's not as good as it was last year. And this is a very important, viable media connection we have here. And we need to know, why do people want to stop free speech? This is not a communist nation. This is not a nation where women have to walk around half covered because it has been their tradition for 2,000 years. We all are equal in this great world of ours, and especially America. We fought for our freedom, the Revolutionary War, where we broke away from the motherland, which was England, and sacrificed many, many Americans. And then later on, the Second War of Independence, which was termed the Civil War. And once again, probably the most horrendous body count, not only for Americans, but on American soil. For a case of example, 56,000 slaughtered in 3 days, June 1st, July 1st, July 2nd, July 3rd, in Pennsylvania, a small town called Gettysburg. It was an accidental battle, but it was the turning point of what was going on in our country. If they had won that battle, folks, it's all political. President Lincoln was coming up for re-election. If he had not had a victory, if they did not see a direction that was going on, or if Lee had gone all the way to Washington and captured the Capitol, we'd be living in two countries right now. I'm fairly certain slavery would have died out from natural causes, but it would have taken a lot longer and a lot more people would have suffered. Very, very unfortunate. Okay, folks, if you want a reading, 629-0683, 629-0683 is the call-in number, and I'll be glad to field any of your questions. Okay, things that are in the news. For the last few shows I've been doing, this political arena is getting so crazy. It's just unbelievable. You know, I believe that there were mistakes made when the embassy in Benghazi was attacked and our ambassador died along with several other fine Americans. And, you know, who was supposed to be on watch was Hillary Clinton. And I'm sure she didn't want to get involved with this. I don't know exactly what was on her mind. But, you know, as a representative of America and holding a state post, to me, she could have done a lot more. I think she was more worried about her political career and how to expand it. President Obama gave her a terrible time, you know, in the first election where he was elected, and she thought she was a shoo-in. So, no, I don't think privilege is part of the American system. I believe people are ready for change. Now, Obama says, change you can believe in, and that was his slogan, and that was his campaign statement. And before we get into all this, I'm not taking any sides. If a Democrat can do the job, I'll vote for a Democrat. If a Republican can do the job, I'll vote for a Republican. If a member of the Independent Party can do the job, well, that's where my vote will go. I don't know how y'all feel about it. It's not like the old days when I grew up in Chicago and I first had the right to vote. We had an old boss type guy like from Tammany Parish in New York called Mayor Daley. And Mayor Daley was an interesting guy. He would wake up at, I don't know, 6 o'clock in the morning. He'd go to Mass every single day. I was hoping it was for his spiritual redemption, but probably because he wanted to portray a good image because he was Irish, and the Irish community are very heavily involved in politics. And everybody wants to have a good look on their face. But and there was another thing he did do. I'll never forget it. He had the street cleaners out twice a week. He wanted a clean city. And I remember those guys going down the street with their giant brushes, shooting water and literally scrubbing the floor. And I thought that was great. You don't see so much of that anymore. What has happened to our country? What is going on? My parents, my dad was born in 1920, my mom in 1921. Both college educated, and then World War II came. Now, in those days, there was a serious threat going on because Hitler had been rattling the sabers and wanting war ever since he rebuilt his military. He rebuilt his country's economy, built the Autobahn, put people back to work. And at first, they loved the guy. They said, oh, he's doing something for us. There's no more chaos. But then, of course, the evil side came out of him. He was anti-Semitic. He wanted to destroy all the Jews. You know, he wrote Mein Kampf, which means my struggle in German. And if anybody had an ounce of sense before things really got bad, they would have read what he wrote in the 1920s while he was in prison in Germany because of a failed push. And what happens? He went page to page, note to note, what he was going to do. And guess what? He did it. 629-0683, 629-0683. I don't see the number coming up on the screen, so I'm going to keep announcing it unless somebody would like to get on board and have a reading tonight. Now, President Obama is in his last days or couple years of his second term, and according to the bylaws of the country, technically we can only run 2 terms if you're going for the presidency. The only time that had changed was during World War II when we had a strong president in office, President Franklin Delano Roosevelt, and he easily defeated any opponent. He went forward with faith. He helped England when no one else would. Everybody was afraid that world conquest was going to happen in Europe. And why should we put money out there? Why should we put troops out there? But he was a man of faith, and he did pray for guidance. And I believe he got the answer because if we hadn't helped England in the Lend-Lease Act, which gave him 50 destroyers and military arms, et cetera, but there was a trade-off. We were given bases in Gibraltar, English bases where we could put our bomber fields, and they flipped the bill for that. So it's all give and take in this world, and how you feel about it. Okay. If you would like a reading, folks, 629-0683. I know that I'm only doing the show once a month now, but it's always the third Friday of the new month at 6 p.m., and the reruns will be on Tuesday at 11 a.m. For the next 3 Tuesdays. And I do want to talk about what can we do to save Access Tucson. It's not to the point where it's totally critical, but it could get there. Hold on. Good evening.
Yeah, good evening, Jim.
Hi.
Got just a couple of questions for you, and I'll hang up and let you answer it on the air.
Yes, sir.
You mentioned that you studied Judaism.
Yes.
Can you explain what the Halakha, the Gemara, the Midrash, and the Talmud were? And if so, can you explain how those relate to the Torah?
Well, the Torah is more like...
I'll hang up and...
Okay, well, you know, you're giving me a question that I did not go to rabbinical school, okay? What I mostly studied was the Torah a little bit, and it was in Hebrew, okay? But it is the Kabbalah, or the Tree of Life, that Jewish mysticism has been documented for centuries, okay?
Do you know what the word tarot means?
It means truth.
So you know nothing about the Halakha, the Gemara, the Midrash, or the Talmud that came out of the captivity of the Jews coming back from Babylon?
Maybe you can educate me. I'd like to hear about it.
Well, I don't want to cut into your program.
No, that's okay. I don't have any callers right now.
Gemara, Midrash,
I like a little interaction.
You're pretty much lost as far as studying Judaism. So I'll let you go to get back to your psychic readings. Adios.
Well, thank you very much, and hasta luego. Thank you very much. I don't mind someone voicing an opinion about what I do or my knowledge of Judaism. I would like to know what this gentleman's knowledge is, but obviously he got off the phone and he's not fielding questions. So I got to think about the validity of that. 629-0683, 629-0683. And I would also like that gentleman to call back and we can talk about Kabbalah, because that's where all my study has gone. And I have gone to lectures by rabbis. I talked to my uncle countless hours, and I learned how to interpret the symbolism. Now, if this gentleman can help me with that, I'm always open for education. But thanks for calling anyway. I'm more concerned about... Good evening. Hello?
Yeah, hi, Jim. It's me.
Okay, you didn't have to.
Bill.
You shouldn't chastise. You shouldn't chastise. Excuse me. You shouldn't chastise an individual as quickly as you did.
No, I'm just asking you. I'm just commenting on.
I told you where my knowledge was. My knowledge is Kabbalah.
I'm just questioning you as to. Yeah, I'm not.
What I interpreted through your question. Excuse me. What I interpreted through your question. I did not go to Hebrew school. I was not bar mitzvahed or anything like that, although I've been to a million of them. I did not learn Hebrew, which is the key to any of the language in that state. What I studied was Kabbalah, and that's how I know how to do what I'm doing.
Okay,
but you shouldn't say to a man, you shouldn't be arrogant and say to a man, you don't know a damn thing,
No, Jim,
and then you hang up the phone.
Don't get upset. Just,
I mean, that puts a good light on you. You know what I mean? You hang up the phone.
I'm just simply asking questions.
Okay. And I answered your question, sir. I answered your question, sir. Now answer me some questions. What do you know about? What do you know about Kabbalah? What do you know about Kabbalah?
I'm not going to let you talk over me. Adios.
Okay. Hasta luego. Jeez. Well, you got to put up with that in the radio and television business. Thank God I'm also a piano player and musician. But I'll challenge him to ask me for a reading, and I bet you I'll be hitting on him. 629-0683 is the call-in number. 629-0683 if you want to get on board with that. Meantime, we have more pressing issues to talk about and then some controversy about who knows this and who knows that. I'd also like to know if that gentleman was a member of the United States Armed Forces, because I was. And anybody who defends our country, I have a lot more respect for. 629-0863. Also, if you want to talk to me at home, my number is up. It's 520-301-1698. Or you can email me at jfhecker@msn.com and discuss anything that you want to. Okay, we're going to get out of school right now, and I know this and you know that, and I'm better than you, and I have the right to say that you're no good. You know, that tells me arrogance. He won't discuss. He won't talk. He won't even listen. And he was being repetitive. So, I don't know. It might make a good cop. Who knows? All right, let's go back to Save Our Media. That's a much more important subject that I want to deal with. Oh, here we go again. Good evening.
Well,
Okay, I'm not going to debate you, sir. If you want a reading, ask me for a reading. That's why I'm here tonight. I'm here to help people. I'm not here to fight with you, okay? I already did my fighting when I was in the military. All right? Thank you very much. Okay, back to Save Our Media. Access Tucson Studios has been here quite a while. The interesting thing is, the city wants to sell the historic building that we are residing in right now. And that's the key word. This is a historic building. And it means that you cannot renovate it any way you want to. At one point, this was a VFW hall, probably more very famous during World War II. And a lot of dances were held here and gatherings, and loved ones were sending their other loved ones off to fight the war. This was an embarkation point. And, you know, to wherever they were going, to the Gulf of Mexico to take a ship, or to New York, or even to California. And, you know, days back then were a lot different. We seem to have more family unity. People went to church more. I know I went to church. And no, it wasn't a synagogue or a temple. I went to a Catholic mass. And I actually was an altar boy. And I actually played organ in the church for a good 15, 16 years. But I'm glad of my background, because I wouldn't have become interested in mental health or how to understand people. And I probably did talk over the gentleman. I owe him an apology for that, but he was getting too repetitive for me for the precious few minutes I have on the air right now. So we have to go from there. 629, folks, 0683, 629-0863. Also, what is happening, God, I don't know, in the school systems? What is happening in the colleges? Why is this country becoming so politically divided? I started on this discussion about Hillary Clinton, and I do know that the media does favor political parties. The Washington Post is going to favor the White House, and then the New York Times lately has been stepping up to the plate and voicing their opinions about things like what did happen in Benghazi. And it was very irritating to see Hillary Clinton get on national news and say to the people, what difference does it make now that 4 people died? And I got the phone call. I didn't send reinforcements. I didn't send a flyover. I didn't send troops. We didn't do anything. And, you know, unfortunately, this is going to plague her political career for a good long while to come. And I don't know if a Republican at this point has a chance to get into office right now. Perhaps maybe an independent who has decent ideas can step forward. And I also think that the Republican Party may be on a very fine line if they keep attacking Hillary because of the mistakes she made, or this and that and the other. And it's going to look pretty obvious that they're trying to sabotage her. But, you know, I wish the government would understand. We are not fools. We are educated people. We're supposed to be sophisticated people. We can see through lies. We can see through political tactics, anything of that nature. Anyway, that's a good thing. I think I'll do a reading on Hillary. Let's see how it goes. let's term this as Hillary Clinton. I'm going to make her come out into her political arena. The cup in Kabbalah represents not only the heart of a person, but the loving forces of a person or the sensitivity of a person. And although this young lady is wearing a crown, I assume or would presume that in some circumstances Hillary Clinton believes she is a queen in her society. But that's just the way it goes. Now, let's see what her chances will be. Because, first of all, we have to find out what's going to happen with the midterm elections, which is very, very, very important. Because if President Obama loses the Democratic edge in the House and Senate, he's not going to get any work done because he's going to be stonewalled all the way down the line. They know he's a lame duck president right now, and they're just going to wait for all his policies. Now, the man only had a certain amount of time to complete his task, to complete his goals. You know, and I do believe the media does have a way of slanting the news or bending or manipulating public opinion. And that's unfortunate. Okay, let's go back to her and see where we're going. We'll do at least one reading tonight. Well, there's no doubt about it, according to the reading, she still has the favoritism of the female vote, which is very important. She is out campaigning now. She is fundraising. This is what all the coins indicate. She's trying to make amends for past, at least accomplishments or mistakes. Her husband, Bill, who is an ex-president of the United States, is definitely her staunchest ally, best friend, and probably her best political advisor. She's going to go out into the world. She's not going to stay in the United States. She's going to go out and learn more about foreign policy and also around the United States. But it seems to me she's gathering quite a war chest. So I'm going to predict that she will be the Democratic nominee going into this race, and we'll look at what's going to happen later on. Okay, folks, if you would like to see me in person or get a reading on the phone, feel free to call me at home, 520-301-1698, or email me at jfhecker@msn.com. And also, you can see some of these past shows where I'm not so controversial on YouTube. Just go to Soulmechanics Television. That's Soulmechanics Television. All right. What is going to happen? God, I mean, the VA. I mean, I am an ex-soldier. What is going to happen to the VA system? People are cooking the books. They're getting evidence about this. People are lying. Now, I can't blame everything on the Democrats. You know, I was talking to a staff member tonight who reminded me, in the past, in past administrations, things were covered up. People got killed. People got hurt. But some of the policies that are going on right now, like this health care reform, people are not trusting it. The VA scandal, the IRS targeting, trying to knock out opposition for political gain in any party. And that kind of reminds me what Hitler did in World War II. He got rid of his, anybody that was against him. Well, obviously, he murdered them, but these other people are getting disgraced because of news coverage that may not be totally accurate. Anyway, there's a lot to discuss about that. Boy, 25 minutes flies by really quick. And I'm sorry we didn't get to address anyone directly, but you can always do that on the next show, or you can call me for a reading. I want to thank everyone who's joined the show tonight, especially the gentlemen. I apologize if I spoke over you. That was rude of me. And I will see you next time. Thank you for joining us. I'm Jim Hacker.